Meat sellers in many parts of Uttar Pradesh began a strike today to protest against the government's crackdown on illegal slaughterhouses. The problem is that legitimate meat shops are now being targeted by overzealous police. Today, UP Minister Siddharthnath Singh warned that vigilantism, as he put it, by the police would not be tolerated. But there's also a big worry now over the impact that all of this could have on the meat industry in UP and jobs.
In Meerut, these men are the casualties of UP's crusade against meat. Until 7 days ago, they worked in this meat plant which exported buffalo meat. Then suddenly, without notice, it was closed. For what they say was a petty reason.
MDA के पेपर पूरे नहीं थे, वो इस बिना पे कोई भी बहाना लेगा इन्होंने बंद कर दिया.
They rebut the communal edge to the debate, saying the meat business provides to all communities.
ये नहीं कि मुस्लिम ही काम कर रहे हैं, 30% हिंदू है, हर कास्ट का हिंदू है. गवर्नमेंट को सपोर्ट करेंगे लेकिन किसी का रोजगार नहीं छीनना चाहिए.
मैंने वोट भी किया है और बीजेपी की तरफ से हुई मैं, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है कि सबकी रोजी रोटी बंद हो जाए. हैं तो सपोर्ट तो करते हैं, लेकिन ये नहीं कि किसी की रोजी रोटी बंद हो जाए. जो लीगली है वो तो चलना चाहिए और लीगल नहीं चलना चाहिए.
Also impacted are farmers. In the normal course, they would have brought their buffaloes to this mandi in Bulandshahr. The market, which boasts of exchanging 1,500 to 2,000 buffaloes every week, has this single buffalo tied to a tree. The owner has been waiting all day.
गाँव से आए हैं, घर में पैसे की बहुत जरूरत है, लेकिन यहाँ कोई ग्राहक नहीं है.
यहाँ कोई खरीदार नहीं है. यहाँ पे कोई
खरीदार नहीं है.
With over 10 export units shut across Uttar Pradesh, the effects trickling down to the daily wage workers and the farmers of a state where almost 2 lakh people depend on this particular sector. With camera person Sudesh Kumar, Manas Pratap Singh, NDTV.
Well, joining us on the program tonight, Sambit Patra, national spokesperson of the BJP, Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. We have with us Fauzan Alvi of the All India Meat and Live Exporters Association here in the studio, and we'll be joined shortly by Tavleen Singh and Sabah Naqvi, our commentators tonight. Sambit, let me ask you first, this big concern right now, is that despite the state government, the Chief Minister and other senior ministers making it clear that this is only to go after illegal slaughterhouses, now, legitimate meat shop owners are saying they are being targeted. That is why they have gone on strike. How will you assuage their concerns?
Two ways. First and foremost, we would do away with any misinformation which has percolated to them that all the shops are being targeted, and we would also call upon the people, the police, the people in general, that such kind of misinformation should not be given any kind of standing. Thirdly, two ministers, in fact, the Chief Minister himself, day before yesterday, while he was addressing a meeting in Uttar Pradesh, categorically has mentioned that those who have a license need not worry, as far as those who are running the illegal abattoirs are the ones who would suffer. In fact, Mr. Siddharthnath Singh, the Health Minister, also came out open today and said that the police should be wary of any kind of overreach, if there is an overreach. So I believe enough of message has been sent to the police and to the people that those who carry a license need not worry.
All right, but let me ask Mr. Alvi, because you know what's actually happening on the ground, Mr. Alvi. Is what the Chief Minister has said and what the Health Minister of UP has said today, is that actually percolating on the ground? What's happening?
As of now, it has not percolated to the district level officers, but I guess it's taking its own time. This morning also there were raids in 3 plants in Hapur and Khurja, and it's like a huge exercise where there's 100 policemen following the convoy, and they're checking for things that are not necessarily required as of now with this particular act that is being implemented. A layout of a factory or a camera not working is not the reason to shut down a factory. Okay, and the law says that a show cause notice has to be given by the authorities, and maybe 24 hours, 48 hours, 15 days are given to comply with the whole purpose. But nothing of this sort has been happening. The officers are going with police and they're sealing the factories like as if there's some criminal act going on.
How is this affecting like your neighborhood butcher, for example? How is this affecting regular meat shops?
See, there are two things one has to understand. One is that talk about this 41 export-oriented units in Uttar Pradesh, and one is what a local butcher shop is doing. So the failure of this butcher shop is not because of an individual. It's a failure of a long drawn failure of the municipal act of Uttar Pradesh, where earlier the doctors used to be required to do an anti-mortem, post-mortem, and then there were places where the slaughter could happen. It's a part of the Nagar Nigam Act everywhere. So those have not been implemented for last maybe 2 decades, 3 decades or whatever. That whole practice has fallen apart. So what the government actually, what we feel is to support the local consumption. You know, a lot of us like who are running export units and with modern slaughterhouses, we can support the local administration, but eventually the government will have to handhold the local butcher. Give them areas where they can do the business, and also teach them what they're doing wrong, if there's anything that they're doing wrong. That is what we feel.
Okay, I'm going to talk to you about the impact this is going to have on jobs and so on. But Ghanshyam Tiwari, the BJP is very clear that it is following what it had laid out in its manifesto, that it's going to go after illegal slaughterhouses, and they keep repeating that is what they're trying to do, and that any kind of vigilantism, as they put it, by the police is not going to be tolerated. What is the opposition's criticism of that, because they are following through on a key poll promise?
Well, I have 3 questions. One, is it not true that the central government led by BJP has been giving incentives and back on improving the meat export in India? They have given grants which has benefited states like Maharashtra, Jharkhand, Goa, Jammu Kashmir, states where BJP is in power, Rajasthan. So that second question, is it not true that Maharashtra has more slaughterhouses than Uttar Pradesh? Third, is it not true that in poll-bound northeastern states, BJP is saying that they will not follow the UP-style meat ban? So BJP started its campaign in Uttar Pradesh, a very successful campaign, on the power of a propaganda, targeting one community, and that propaganda has disrupted an entire industry. They got a state which had a improving infrastructure, high business sentiment, and now they are running a state from anti-Romeo to anti-meat ban, a number of anti-agenda which eventually have become anti-people agenda. People are scared. They don't want to risk their enterprise and life to vigilantism, which is common to BJP, RSS, and a number of organizations that support them. The statements made by a BJP MLA yesterday is a shame, but it is on the strength of such statement that people become ministers and even chief minister in BJP. So probably the guy who's talking about breaking people's legs on hurting cows aspires to be a minister, and he's using the same formula that many others used. And these are the people who have criminal cases against them already. So BJP is going around this in a design, and somewhere the new chief minister is part of that design, the ministers in the government is part of this design, and the fundamental contradiction in national policy versus state propaganda is part of that design.
Well, Sambit, before I let you answer that, Sabha, is this, as the SP seems to suggest, the targeting of the Muslim community, which is now, been turned into something else? How are you seeing this play out?
Nidhi, I think the situation is so serious that I would not like to target the BJP at all. I would like to appeal to their sense of Raj Dharm, which Atal Bihari Vajpayee you spoke of, Narendra Modi spoke of Sarvamat. This is an appeal to them that millions of jobs are at stake right now. If there are elements in the party, if there is an ideological orientation of some people to prove something to a particular community, I am not going to go there. I don't want to talk in that language any longer. Millions of people are crying. They are losing their jobs. Any government, a compassionate government, does not do something like this without creating alternatives, without consulting people, and as the gentleman who represents the meat exporters has said, help the industry comply. I also have no doubts that abattoirs and the sort of, the kind of civic authorities we have in India, the way people throw their waste of all industry, all industrial waste, smells, rots, I have no doubt that there are abattoirs who are polluting, there are small meat shops. Bring in a new system. Bring in a new system. But I would appeal to them right now not to render so many people unemployed.
Okay, Tavleen Singh, let me get a first comment from you though. Sabha saying there's an appeal that she's making to the state government not to do this suddenly and to take into account that livelihoods are at stake. Tavleen, you have been writing with a certain degree of anguish about the way things are playing out in UP since the elevation of Yogi Adityanath as Chief Minister. And that anguish seems to be centered around the fact that the focus of the agenda has completely shifted. And does this, seeing this and the way this is playing out, sort of reinforce the way you felt?
You see, I don't understand how we've come to these two things, the anti-Romeo squads or whatever they are, and the meat industry as priorities, because they made many other promises: roads, drinking water. UP is one of our most backward states. So even there are two things that really shock me. One is they're prioritizing things that shouldn't be a priority, and which clearly seem to be targeting in some twisted fashion the Muslim community. And actually they've got that wrong as well, because there are plenty of Hindus working in this industry, so they've got that wrong. The other thing is that they're doing it in such a ham-handed fashion that what Yogi Adityanath seems to be doing is making clear, before he's got his act together, he's making clear that he's got no administrative skills at all. Because even if you're going to do this, do it in a way that doesn't antagonize people and that shows that you have a grip on the administration. You can't say, okay, now, go out and catch people, Romeos or whatever, and then 2 minutes later say, no, not couples. And then, meat industry gets attacked, and then suddenly it's only illegal abattoirs, which, by the way, exist and should be controlled for hygienic reasons. So it's the priorities that worry me, as well as his administrative skills seem to be very limited.